In this lesson, we'll take a look at the Subtool Master and how it can be used to really speed up our workflow. And we do have training on using the Subtool Master, but I did want to take some time here and just talk about some of the things that it can do to kind of speed up the way that we do things. So this is 09 begin in your project files if you want to open that up. It's basically just this dragon. And let's say that we want to now start to append some pieces to this. So let's say that we've sculpted or created a tooth and we want to start to append all of the teeth in. Well, traditionally we could go in and we could say append, and then we could select a tool, bring it in, and then append another one, and so forth. But and if we wanted to bring in something extra, something from outside of the package, import something is the word I'm looking for, we could go ahead and import it and then append it onto our Z tool. But with the Subtool Master, we can kind of speed up that process. So let's go ahead and activate it, and we can activate it. Remember, I made a little button over here, but traditionally it's found under Z plugin. And then we'll go to our Subtool Master, and you can see there's a button here. So we'll go ahead and activate it. And I've gone ahead and kind of moved the recording area up a little bit just so we can see all the way to the bottom of this. So hopefully you'll be able to see that whole thing. It's a little finicky as far as the placement of it, as far as what we can actually see. But the first thing that I want to talk about is this multi-append, and it's the first button right up here. So this will allow us to append multiple pieces to our Z tool. So let's go ahead and hit that button. So it's going to go ahead and bring up a browser, and in this instance we want to bring in, let's say, the claws, and let's say the claws are multiple OBJs. So we've got in here 6 different OBJs. These are in our project files assets OBJ. So instead of picking one and actually appending that and then going back in and appending another one, we can actually shift select all of these OBJs. Go ahead and open that up, and it'll go through the process of actually importing all of those into this single subtool, into this single tool here as subtools. So you can see it's appending 4 of 6, 5 of 6, 6 of 6, and then it should be done shortly. So we go into our subtool here, and now we can see our different claws. Okay, right, you can see the claws located here. Turn those on and off. So we have the different feet and hands grouped together, and you can see instead of coming in and importing those and then appending each one, we're able to do that just with a couple of clicks. Okay, now those were individual OBJ files. What if we have a Z tool with a number of different subtools in it? Well, let's go ahead and try that. So let's say we've got the teeth in its own Z tool. So we'll go ahead and go back into Subtool Master, multi-append. Okay, and this time we'll jump up, and there's a Z tool called Dragon Teeth. Okay, just one .ztl file. We'll go ahead and append that. And this is a file that contains multiple subtools, so it's not just one single object. Now you can see that it's going through that process of appending all of the different subtools onto our dragon tool. Okay, so we'll go ahead and let that finish up. There's a number of teeth in here that it's bringing in. So there we go. We've got all of our teeth have come in from our Z tool. Come down here, you can see all of those teeth located there. So that's a really nice and quick way of bringing in not only multiple OBJ files, but also Z tools that consist of multiple subtools. We can actually append all of those subtools on versus having to do it one at a time. So that's that can be really useful and save a lot of time. Okay. Another thing that we can do, we can deal with our subtools as a group. So if we want to make all the visible subtools low res, we can hit that button and it'll turn everything low. You can see it goes through that process. So if we wanted to turn everything into the low subdivision level, we can go ahead and hit that button. Okay, or we can do the opposite and say we want everything to be high. So now it'll go through all of our visible subtools and make everything high to the highest level. Okay, turn on the visibility there of that one. And that's going to be located down here, high res visible and low res visible. Okay. We also have this button in here called Do Visible, and this just contains a number of different things that you might want to do to all of the visible subtools. So if we click on that, you can see currently subdivide one time is selected, so that would go in and subdivide all the visible subtools. Reconstruct subdivision on your visible subtools, correct duplicate subtool names, and so forth. Okay, turn off all layers, turn on next layer, and so forth. And so that's located here under Do Visible. Okay, another thing that you can speed up is filling. So assuming that we want to come in and let's say we want to start over from this and we want to just fill it with some color and a new material maybe. So we could go to the body. We could select a new material. So let's select a skin shade, and let's kind of select an orange color. And let's say we wanted to fill this. So we would turn on MRGB, and we could go up to Color, Fill Object to fill that with our material and color. And then if we wanted to do the same thing to all the rest of these pieces, we could go ahead and select this piece, go to Color, Fill Object, and we could go and make our way through all of these different subtools. With the Subtool Master, we don't have to do that, so we can go to Fill, and we can decide whether we want to fill it with just color, just material, or color and material, which is what we've been doing. So we'll say OK to that. And now it's going to take our color and our material, go through and fill every subtool with that particular color and that particular material. Again, with just a couple of clicks over going in and selecting each one individually and clicking that. Okay, so see how that goes through there. So now that material and color has been assigned to all of these subtools. So now if I change my material, so let's go ahead and change this to like a basic material or maybe something a little bit more, maybe Sculpey. You can see that it's not affecting the model because it's already been filled with another material. Now, there may come a time, and in fact there probably will come a time when you want to remove the fill. You filled something with material and you want to actually remove that. We can do that as well. So let's say we want to unassign the material, so we want it to be whatever material we happen to have selected. So go to Subtool Master, go to Fill again. This time we'll turn off everything. So we don't have color, material, or color and material selected. We'll say OK to that. So now it's going to go through the process of basically unfilling all of the subtools. So it's turning into this material because it's using this Sculpey which we have selected. So we'll let that go through and unfill that. So now it's going to take on the material attributes of whatever material we happen to have selected. So if we choose chrome, it's going to become chrome. Same thing with color. You can choose a pearl. And so that is kind of the basic default that you have here as far as not having a material assigned, and that way you can preview different materials on your mesh. So if you do have it filled, Subtool Master can basically unfill it for you as well. Okay, so we also looked at accessing Subtool Master by adding a button to our side here, and we also added a hotkey for that. But what if we want to add a hotkey to actually any of these little items here? So what we can do is we want to go ahead and hit on this little version button, and that's kind of why I moved the recording area a little bit so we can see this. But at the bottom of your Subtool Master buttons here, you'll see this little version. We'll go ahead and click on that. Now we'll go into Z plugin, and now you can see it's expanded with all of these buttons, and these are really just temporary buttons. So let's say that I want to go ahead and create a hotkey for one of these. So let's say I want to create a hotkey for making everything, well, let's do fill. And so we can go ahead and use our traditional hotkey method, Control-Alt-Click, and then I'm just going to hit close bracket, and that custom hotkey, it says, has been defined. So let's try it out. So we'll go ahead and create or select another material, and let's go ahead and hit our hotkey, and there you can see it brings up our options, color and material. We can say OK, and that'll go through and fill that in. So that way we don't even have to open up the Subtool Master. We can just select our hotkey, and that will perform whatever function was within the Subtool Master. But remember, you've got to make those buttons visible so that you can actually do that. And those are kind of temporary buttons. You can't really move those around. If you try to move those into one of your palettes, they're just going to basically disappear. Okay? And then we can go ahead and click on that again, and you can see those buttons go away. Okay? But my hotkey still stays. So if I choose red clay, again, close bracket, now I can fill that. Or in this case, maybe I want to unfill everything again. Okay, so if you do want to create a hotkey or shortcut for any of the buttons within Subtool Master, just make sure to click on the little version. That'll bring up your temporary buttons, and then you can assign a hotkey from there. All right, so make sure to check that out. There's a lot of tools inside there that will really speed up your workflow, especially if you find yourself going through and doing the same thing to a bunch of different subtools and going in and doing each one. Check that out and see if maybe there's a function in there that can do what you want it to do, as far as maybe filling or if you're constantly moving up and down on subdivision levels, that can help you out there as well. So make sure to check that out. And that's located by default under Z plugin, although you can add a button here and also hotkeys for the individual buttons within the Subtool Master. Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about as far as speeding up our workflow is the multi-map exporter, which can speed up our workflow when working with texture maps. So we'll go ahead and look at that next.